This is live, so there is no do-overs. Are you
I know.
nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. Just
Okay.
go.
Just making sure. It's been a while, everybody, that we got the chance to sit down and chat with you all. But the title is correct. I wanted to jump into it. It's been a little over 5 months since I was laid off, and we've been doing the full-time reselling for a while. And so I kind of wanted to just chat through like the pros and cons, because maybe some people out there that stumble upon this video are
Maybe
like,
you just got laid off.
maybe, yeah, maybe you got laid off, maybe you've been
Or you're thinking
contemplating
about
quitting,
quitting.
and doing this full time. And I kind of wanted to lay out like the pros and cons of doing it now that we've done it for a while.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I want you to just chime in whenever you feel like.
I will. I'll cut you off when I want to.
Okay, perfect. So the first thing, and this is the biggest thing for me personally, is when I wake up in the morning, I never have that feeling of dread for the day that I have coming. So like back when I was working a regular job, there was times where I would wake up and I would just be like, oh, I gotta do blank, or I gotta do just I gotta talk to this person, or I have this meeting, or I have to. I'm having to do a one-on-one with this person. I don't want to talk to this person. Like, there was always this like feeling of dread in certain situations that would come up. Like, for the common person out there, it's your Monday feeling when you wake up on a Monday after having the weekend off, and you got to go into work. It's never really a good feeling that you have. I don't have that at all anymore. Like, I wake up every day and there's not a single day where I'm like I dread something that I'm coming into or I'm about to do. So
Yeah.
I find it kind of interesting.
It's like freeing. Yeah.
Yeah, but and I'm gonna bounce back and forth from the good and the bad, so then you can kind of make the judgment from there of
if it's right for you or
yeah,
whatever.
correct.
Some things maybe you already have thought about, and then other things maybe they're new.
Yeah. So from one of the big negatives, probably personally the biggest would be no benefits.
That really sucks.
Yeah.
It's like nerve-wracking because we have kids too. So first of all, it's like medical insurance, no. Life insurance, no. Vision, dental, like this year we've had to take our kids and like dental just for, they have no cavities, and for cleaning and x-rays it was like $600. So that was a sticker shock. I don't know. There's a lot of like,
I could see
my
already,
comfort is not there.
I could see already
no
how this is going to
benefits.
go. You're going to talk about all the negatives.
I'll help you
and
in
I'm
that
going to
area.
talk about all the positives.
Yeah, what would be a
because
positive about not having benefits?
I'm not saying there's a positive to
okay.
it. I'm just saying you seem
Yeah.
to you're going to chime in
I'm
on
just
all
saying.
the negatives, and I'm going to talk about the positives.
I'm a warrior, so
I'm a positive person, comparative.
someone has to think of these things.
Yeah, but so there are some challenges definitely with
Yeah.
that like little benefits that you take for granted, like
Yeah.
the 401k match that you might have with your company, like that is no longer a thing. And then also the idea of like it automatically being processed. Now you have to actually like take money out of your day to day, and maybe
Set it
you're
aside.
not doing as well as you would like to in order to afford doing that. So there's a lot of definite downsides. Like we're talking about getting life insurance, and
Yeah.
this was provided by the
For
company
free.
for free, and now we don't have that.
Right.
So
So
now
now
we're
we
actually
have to pay out of pocket for it and shop around.
yeah. And also, I think another added thing that's kind of like encompassed with that aspect is how taxes are pulled out where the company is paying half of the taxes and you're paying half. So you're effectively being charged about 12.5%, and they're being charged 12.5%. And then now in this world, we're just getting charged the full 25%.
25% is all ours.
Is what we end up getting charged. So there's a lot there to consider on a negative downside of doing, full-time reselling.
Yeah.
Back to the good.
I don't know what this is.
Flexibility. Personally, like we get to kind of dictate how our day's going to go on a regular basis. And maybe I had a game plan of doing, maybe I was planning on cleaning shoes or golf clubs, but then the weather changes, so I decide that I'm going to do something else.
Yep.
And work on our store or go sourcing. There's a lot of flexibility where we get to dictate how our day is going to go.
Yeah.
And
or like, so I homeschool our boys, and if they're like breezing through things, then I have more time for our eBay store or our reselling store. But if they're struggling, then I have more time to dedicate to them for that topic. I can go as long as I need to because we work for ourselves, and I'm not like, I have to be out the house at this time to get to work. I don't have that. So that's really nice.
So I think ultimately nobody is telling you what you have to do
or where you need to be, or
it obviously when you're working a
to
job, a lot of times you don't get to dictate what your day looks like, and your day is pretty much created for you. I remember coming in on days where I'd be back to back meetings, one-on-ones.
Yeah. Everything's planned. There's no gap.
Everything's planned, and you're just
maybe you have a lunch break.
You have no control, and I'm like eating at my desk. Those kind of things. That happened, and it was quite frequent, and it would be stressful. Like knowing that your whole day is booked out. Now, granted, a lot of the times in those situations, day would fly by.
I was about to say, I bet the time flew by though.
But still, wasn't nothing to be excited about. So, now on the other side of this, we now work nonstop.
Yeah, there's no cutoff. There's literally something to do at all hours of the day.
And even if you wanted to take time off, like still like all of a sudden, ka-ching.
Yeah.
And you look down and so
that's
there's a
work
little bit,
related.
Yeah.
Like even though it's a positive, we just sold something. It's still like work, work, good work. Have money now. Have money.
Yeah. Or it could be a message, or it could be an offer. It's simply you could literally never. It could never cut off. Maybe I even wake up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom, and I look at my phone and see that I've got 3 alerts from eBay. I could effectively work at 3:00 in the morning if I wanted to, and counter offer, look at what we sold, whatever it may be. But effectively, if you wanted to work, you can always work.
Always.
And there's no shortage of work.
No.
And it's kind of...
And it's hard, too, because there's no boundaries. So... while we know this is our company and we work for ourselves, like, it's kind of hard to say, I'm only working from 8 to 5. Well, that's really not practical.
No, it's not. And to some degree, with a family and stuff, things change. And I mean, for example, with us being sick.
Yeah, we were sick for like 2 weeks about now.
Yeah, and I still think we're still dealing with a little bit of the...
It's just lingering.
Yeah, it just won't fully go away. But we were down for a few days. You feel kind of bad because you feel like you're neglecting your store, but it's still
feel guilty.
The good thing is this still kept going.
Yeah.
So it's not that it necessarily needed us to continue to survive and keep pumping out sales in the process, but there is always a feeling of a fear of missing out of some sorts of, you should be doing something.
I didn't fear that. I feared like our sales would stop and then we wouldn't have any sales days for like a week or so until we start listing again.
Yeah.
Shipping always had to happen. So even if I was super sick, shipping happened.
Well, you could technically put your store on vacation, but I'm just saying, like, there are ways to completely cut it off, but for the most part, you gotta just continue to push on. So. One good I would say is you get to choose your work. So you get to effectively pick the items that you are willing or wanting to work on. So
we just picked up these stupid Kodak projectors. Well, guess what? We had so much trouble with those. I will never buy another one. I don't care if it's free. I don't want it. Let somebody else have it.
I will take it if it's free because I'm selling I'll sell
the cord.
Power cord.
I just even seeing them makes me like mad.
Like there's certain categories that we've determined aren't something that we like working on. So we will see it in the wild and be like, hey, we could make money on this, but I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, nope.
So
you get that when you trial and error, you see what you like working with, and then you like can specialize.
And a perfect example too is like we become a lot more picky with the items that we're picking up in even categories that we do like working on. Like I don't mind cleaning shoes, but I do think there's like a boundary and a limit. Like I don't want to clean gum off the bottom of the shoes. I don't want to clean dog hair inside the shoe.
Gosh, cat
hair.
Yeah.
There's certain fabrics that are extremely difficult to clean. That basically require you to run them through the washer in order to have a chance to save them. And So in those cases, like, you really got to weigh, like, how much profit are you going to get by cleaning this
Yeah.
particular
How much
item,
time
and
am
how
I gonna
much
waste
time.
cleaning them?
So there's like a lot of factors that come in play, and I think we're doing a better job of kind of mitigating and determining that prior to
Yeah.
purchasing. But that's the cool thing is ultimately, like, you pick the item that you like working with,
Yep.
um, and you don't really
Then
try
you
you try
don't.
not to
Then it
deviate.
makes your days like not so you don't dread it because
Yeah.
like you like the item, so it's easy to list.
Not that I've really struggled with the dreading part of this
No, but
because
it's more enjoyable if you like the items you
oh,
have,
100%,
and if you're
100%.
excited to see
And
somebody
also,
buy
I
it.
will say, like, when you were talking about it, like, there's certain items that maybe it sits in this area because I'm not excited to list it, so it stares at me for an extended period of
Yeah.
time because it's daunting to get into, and it's something that's not exciting to me. So then you just continue to push it
And
off,
it
push it
just
off, push it
stares
off.
at you.
Yeah,
It
and
reminds you.
it's not good.
Remember, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Haven't touched me yet.
Bad, I would say, is less money. Dare I say, I think I was being overpaid at my last job. Well, so my last
I
job,
don't think
when I
so.
first came in,
Yeah.
it was a mess. And it's one of those things to where, as a supervisor, you come in, you clean it up a
You're
little
like the
bit.
hatchet man.
You clean it. Don't put it that way. You go in and you clean it up a little bit. You get to where you're working with people that you enjoy working with more frequently. Then it's not that daunting of a job that you're getting stuck with.
Yeah.
So I feel like for the last 9 months when I was at my job, I was probably overpaid based on the situation I was in.
Because
but it was
you had cleaned it
because
up, and then
the
it was
first 6
flowing
months,
right.
the
Yeah.
first 6 months I had to.
Yeah, that was really bad. You like.
Oh, I
Yeah.
dreaded it.
Yeah. They were hard days you had.
So,
Anyways.
but with less money, so we're definitely making less money now than when I was working.
Yeah.
And then you keep in mind, like, we were also making money on the side with the reselling business
Right.
while I was working this full-time job.
And you had benefits and all that.
And we
jazz.
had all that stuff.
So.
So it was a really sweet deal at that particular time. But I was, like, exhausted and
Yeah.
running nonstop.
And not to mention, you were thinking, when can I retire? I'm ready to retire. I want to be done with the corporate world.
Well, not retire.
But what
per
I'm
se,
saying is,
but
like,
quit.
yeah, have
Quit.
a job you like going to.
Yeah.
Where it's working for yourself.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was. It's less money. I will say the caveat to this is, I do think we can build this business into a replacement of that income.
Right.
It will take some time. But I feel like we're inching closer and closer, and I feel like every month we're making a little bit more than what we did previously, which is almost in a whole nother conversation because I don't want to grow too big because it seems like eBay's starting to crack down on growth.
Which is odd.
Yeah, I don't quite understand
Anyways,
that. But that
different topic.
Yeah, so needless to say, I think there are ways for us to eventually get to where we want to go.
There's no limit.
So one benefit is we are not we're not forced to live or stay in a particular area. Like, oftentimes with your job, if you're working at a job or a location or anything like that, you have to be within some sort of vicinity of that location in order to make it make sense to commute to it.
Yeah.
Or even if you're working from home for a job, there's a lot of times where they'll have, like, certain states that you can live in. Now that we're doing this, we could literally do this anywhere.
Go wherever we want. Yeah.
So there is some flexibility with that. At first I didn't really particularly like where we were located right now, but I think it opens up a lot of opportunities of where we can go. So there's times where your city might not have a good option to go source that particular day, but then another city might.
Yeah.
And we just happen to be in between two big cities. So we get to pick and choose which city we want to go to. So it does require some traveling, but I'm going to let you talk that one since
Oh my God,
you wrote that.
storage takes over the house. All the items that we have in our store have to go somewhere, and we're not paying for a storage unit. So it is literally all over our house. We don't have a garage. It is our storage unit, and it's really hard to feel like you actually have a house. So in my dream world, I would have a small house that has literally nothing to do with our business in it, and a big, huge office storage shed in the back, and keep everything business related there. Because right now it's like you can't really relax because you look anywhere you look, you see inventory.
It doesn't bother me at all.
It drives me crazy. So I'm trying to be real creative with storage situations that actually look decent.
Honestly, I get to a point to where to
So
play a little
annoying.
games, we'll get something that is like somewhat cutesy or something like that, and I'll find a place in the house to put it
It's not
out in the
mine.
open.
It's not ours.
And I kind of wait to see how long it takes for Amber to notice
Is there
that this
anything
is
you've put out there that I haven't noticed yet?
maybe. I don't want to spoil it if there
It's
is.
just terrible.
So,
It's, I mean, literally, like, our room is full. The kids, their rooms don't have anything in it, or their bathroom or anything like that. But literally every other part of our house has stuff. It's too much. So that's definitely a negative.
I put job security as a positive. I think to a lot of degree, like, I think there would always have to be, you have to be flexible for change, because change could happen. I mean, it could be like eBay shuts down on us for good, and then we have to make changes and pivots. But there's a lot of options out there with other marketplaces to sell in.
Mm-hmm.
We've already started to dabble our foot into Whatnot, which we've had some decent success. I still think it has some area of opportunity.
We don't very much on that.
You don't, but at the same time, I can see...
We also don't get a lot of viewers yet.
No, we don't.
It could grow.
I think we could always pivot to it, is the key thing. Is so we have a lot of options open.
I mean, think about it. Back in the old days, before there was money, they were trading. So, like, this is never going away. Job security, this will always be around. People will always need things, and it's good bartering stuff. So, even if financial system goes to crap, well, the people around us are in luck because we have a little store.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think back to when I was working a job, and I was always...
Well, you're on edge. Like, am I going to have a job tomorrow?
You have a tough conversation with your boss, and you're like, are they about to fire me?
Yeah.
You know, towards the end of my job, like, I didn't really care if they did, because I was planning on quitting anyway. But, what?
Nothing.
But I was planning on quitting anyway, so, like, you get to a point to where you have that, like, you know, you can... I guess it's more of like the financial aspect. Like, when I had a job and we had to have a job, and we weren't prepared to move to something else, and things got sticky or difficult or challenging at your job, and you're like, am I on the chopping block?
Yeah.
For one reason or another. And it was never like a performance-based thing. But
well, I mean, the economy now, people are laying off everybody.
That's what I'm saying. They all know about that. And they don't care. So it's just like, whatever. You know, the company has to do what the company has to do. Yeah. And you don't know when your name's going to be called. Mm-hmm. And so when you have a family that you're supporting, and, you know, you're the only sole income, it's a lot of stress that, you know, it's something that you can't understate. Like, I don't feel that anymore. So I put you are the guy. So we don't have employees.
Nope.
You know, we get sick. The store effectively goes to a screeching halt. So there is a little bit of stress that is associated with you being the
boss, the owner.
You know, the
You
enforcer.
are the face.
You are everything.
You are HR.
Yeah.
You are customer complaints.
Yeah, go talk to yourself for a couple hours.
You are in trouble.
All right, so one thing I will say is that I do enjoy is that we do get an opportunity to help others. And this can happen in your community where, you know, we just had somebody today that was looking for a specific sports team hat. We have one. They want it for their friend. Perfect.
They don't have to go out to get it.
We give them a good deal.
Yeah.
And the person, hopefully, if they like it, if they don't, I don't mind them giving it back to us. So it's kind of like a free trial of sorts to make sure it's a good fit. But there's been oftentimes where people will come over for shoes specific.
Clothes.
Cleats. You know, like you've got kids and stuff like that. These kids grow through things. You know, I don't know, the other day out hanging out with a bunch of neighbors, and I think I mentioned something about I had a bowl that was Fiesta wear, and someone's like, oh, I love Fiesta wear. I was like, oh, I have some for sale. He's like, I'll buy it. And then I go and I show him what it is, and he said he wants it. I give him half price of what we had in our store, and he's excited.
Yeah.
And I'm happy because,
It's
I'm
out.
making money and it
Yeah.
was out and it was big and it wasn't
And they
selling.
liked it.
And they loved it because it's unique and a different type of pattern than normal Fiesta
Yeah.
wear. So, um, and I think too, there's times where we get um, feedback on our eBay profile where the person was like hunting for this
Hmm.
particular item. They had a hard time finding this item. They loved the item.
Yeah. This reminds me of when I was a kid,
I
or
couldn't believe how
yeah.
great this particular
Yeah.
item was. Like those things, when we read them,
It
it's
makes us so
hard.
proud.
It's hard to not be
Yeah.
like, okay, we're
This is
doing
what
a
we're
good
doing.
thing
Yeah. Because
for
most of the stuff
society.
that we have, I swear, it would end up at a thrift store where it's going to sit, or it's going to be just junked because people don't have time to deal with it.
Well, and it's not
So,
only that too, but there's a sense of you are providing good for society
hmm,
by doing what
yeah,
we're
that's what I'm
doing.
saying. Keeping it out of
So
the trash, giving it another life.
my previous jobs,
Yeah.
like I had a job where it was all focused around upselling stuff that people didn't need or want.
Yeah.
And like you were measured based on how much you were able to upsell
Upsell.
these particular junk items that people ultimately don't want. And a lot of the times people were doing it maliciously without like the customer's consent. That was not my way of selling
That's how
because
other people do it.
but that's how the people I'm competing against were
Yeah.
doing it, and it was a competitive environment. And ultimately, what good are you providing for society when you're slamming products onto people?
Hmm.
Answer is you're not. But we're led to believe that that's what our requirement
Well,
was based in the corporate world.
I had a job where I had to like read a script of like somebody called in like the number on the TV or whatever, and I had to try to upsell, and it was all these like older people who they just want the product they called in for, and from tricky wording, now they're signing up for like a subscription that they're gonna have a hard time canceling. I just felt so bad, and I ended up I was a terrible employee for them because I ended up just chatting with them, and like it seemed like they had nobody around, so I just stayed on the line. And I had like the red lights blinking at me like you're taking too long. So I was terrible at that job. It was not for me, but I just feel so much better doing this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
One negative we have is we are kind of off schedule. Our weekend is
Oh
like
yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yep. So when friends get
Sunday,
together,
Monday, Tuesday,
Friday
Wednesday.
night, Saturday, it's
Yeah, Friday night is off limits. Saturday, we're busy with like garage sales and all those kind of things. So that's like our prime time of when we have to perform and we actually have to work. But that doesn't necessarily coincide with our neighbors and stuff like
right.
that. So there's times where it's like Friday night they want to hang out and it's
And we
like
would love to.
I would love to, but like realistically, I've got a schedule for
The
the
morning.
garage sales in the morning and try to game plan and figure out the route that we're gonna go.
Yep. So
And
our
get to
schedule
bed.
does not work out with other people's.
Yeah, so we're
Typical.
definitely off schedule. I would say that could also be viewed as a positive too.
Yeah, because every time we can go shopping, like when it's less busy, or we can go try like to an amusement park when nobody else is there, and
Like we don't have rush hour traffic. If
No.
we do get stuck in rush hour traffic,
It
it
was our
just
fault.
happenstance. Like we didn't really have to,
yeah,
but here we
we're
are.
just playing bad.
Um, so we do have like an impromptu store. This has come into handy in several occasions to where the kids have a party that they need to go to,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, we forgot a gift
Yeah.
for the kid, and then we know we can go to our store and pull an item.
Yeah, and our son just started soccer, and we had cleats for him. Well, now they don't fit, and I got him like the same day. We had cleats for him.
Yeah.
In our
And
store.
yeah,
so.
we have them in the store. We delist them, and he loves them. Like he starts running around the house and
It's going fast.
So I think there's definitely benefits to having the items already on hand that we're able to take advantage of. And a lot of times it's gift related stuff. Like there's times where we'll buy stuff and we're like, we could sell it for this, but instead I think this would be a better gift for somebody else. One negative I would say is it's getting very competitive and it's on multiple levels. So you're talking about competitive when you're sourcing.
There's
like,
some people that will get out to a yard sale for like 2 hours in advance.
yeah, and there's like
It's crazy.
We've literally had people that if they put the address on and say that the garage sale is starting at 7, they're knocking on their door at 6.
Hey.
Do you have this, and this? And it's like video games is one of our categories we particularly really like, or I personally really like working with. And I've gotten to a point to where I just simply cannot expect to ever get video games because it is so competitive. Just the other day, we were in uh, like this apartment community garage sale of some sorts. I don't know what else to explain it, but there was people that were boarded out, and then I see a guy who's like damn near 70 years old is
Oh.
asking for video games. It's like, what the heck? Like, this isn't supposed to be something you're interested in.
It
Like,
sells.
leave that for me. Like, this is my
They
area.
might like video games too.
You get the antique, radios or
No.
clocks.
You're
That's
terrible. What I don't like is seeing people that were like at a yard sale and this car will come up and they'll just say, hey, you got any video games? Or just shouting out the window. Don't even have the like gall to get out of their car and ask.
Yeah.
It's so rude.
Or somebody
and it gives
like,
us a bad name. Like, we're not that way.
Yeah.
We're not those people.
So it's competitive on the sourcing side, but I also think it's getting very competitive too on the selling side, to where people are trying to
Well, people need
sell
money.
cheaper to get items, which is kind of, so people are coming for a deal, so they're looking to get cheaper prices, but at the same side, like, we're still dealing with inflation as well, and it hits us just as much as anybody else.
Yeah.
So if we're supposed to sell, let's say, a video game for $15, and that's what the market says, but you're getting hit with $12 offers, inflation would say that maybe that game's worth $17 and now we're selling it for 12. Like, that's a negative impact to us on an inflation side. So the competition is difficult. I think it's important that you want to make sure you're in areas where maybe the competition isn't as dire.
Yeah.
So that you can continue to keep good profit margins and all that. So all I have left are all positives.
Hey.
So we're down. We're done with the negatives. A positive is a lot of family time.
Yeah.
Like, we get to spend a lot more time with family. I would say this is also where we get to show the kids.
Yeah. How to run a business.
How to run a business.
The work it takes.
Yeah, and how much like it takes, and they've actually gotten an interest into it to where like. I'll be like, like, hey kids, this just sold, and they're like, how much, and they get excited. So you get to kind of take them along the ride.
They definitely have like a good idea of what things can cost and where you can save money, so that will help them in the long run.
Yeah, I will say, like, a lot of times, like, kids and their understanding of what money is worth. I've heard stories, like, I remember I had an agent on my team that their child, who was, I think she was like 8 years old, came home with a box of rocks that had like painted faces on it, and he asked her, how much did you pay for that, for a box of rocks? And she said $20. And then he was like, well, why didn't you pay $100? And she said, well, because I didn't have $100. So like, she would have probably paid $100 for a box of rocks with painted faces on it. But that's because they don't understand the value of money.
Right.
And I do think, to some degree, our kids have a good understanding of the value of money. Or not, I wouldn't say a good understanding, but I would say a better understanding.
Right. They have a long way to learn. But
they do, but I think a lot of this is helping.
It is.
And then I also like the idea of teaching them work ethic. So that's something that's hard to really see in day-to-day world. But since they get to come along on the journey.
All the time.
We take them to the post office with us oftentimes. They come sourcing with us almost all the time.
Yeah.
So they see what we're trying to do. I think the job is challenging, and that's a good thing. Like, I look at that as a positive. We're always learning. There's other categories that we dabble our foot in at times to see whether or not it's something of interest. I know personally, like, if there's something that you're always gravitated to, hint, hint, Apple TVs, hint, hint.
I don't know why. Anything Apple, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I gotta have it. But
and
it's
she's like, I got this Apple TV for $20. It's like, it sells for $15. What the hell are you doing?
Or it's like, it's not even supported anymore. Like, you can get iPads all day, but you can't use them because they're not supported.
So,
I'm a
but
sucker for those.
If you get to where you're pulled in a such situation and you want to look, like, she really needs to do some research on Apple TVs. Like, there's no if, and, or buts. There's certain ones that I know are worth. I just don't buy them now. But my eyes go to them. You still need to do research on it. But the point is like, you can always do research. You can always find new categories and stuff that you're interested in. There's times where maybe you left a category and then you learn some more tips and tricks on how to better be efficient in that category, and then you decide to go back to it. That's just like cameras, for one, is one that I think I want to kind of get back into. but I want to focus on like the digital cameras and not necessarily the film-based cameras.
Right.
So there's a little caveat and twist to that. So, and
There's
then
always something else to learn.
the last positive that I have is the benefits of self-shopping. So like you'll go out and there's something that we need. So like right now we need a sink.
Yep.
For
Because
our
our
downstairs.
builder put in the sink angled at the wall. So when people wash their hands and our soap won't even stay on it, just kind of falls off. You got to lean it against the wall. No. So now we're going to start having wall damage and floor damage. Anyways. And I just pulled off the mirror and there's a big cut in the wall. They just stuck the piece of drywall right into it. It's like they had to access the electricity. They didn't repair it.
If
I
you don't
literally
notice,
could take
this
it
is-
straight out.
This
Made
is
me
fresh.
so mad.
This is very
This
fresh
was
right
today.
now. And so she is very passionate about this.
So yeah, we're
particular
looking for a
topic.
sink.
But the point is like we'll be able to find a sink probably far less than half price
Yeah.
when we go out and shop for it. And this happens quite often. Like I upgraded my iron set by paying $75 for an iron set that's worth $250, and then I'll take my old set. I haven't sold it yet, but I should get around $75 for it. So effectively upgrade for free to a new iron set, which I needed to do because my old iron set was just so daggum old.
Yeah, but there's stuff like that all the time. We've found stuff for like the yard, for cleaning supplies, or just anything, cooking supplies.
I mean, how many times do we get lotions and soaps and shampoos? Like all these things are out there in the wild. We're getting them for
like nothing.
About almost like 10.
We pay about 10%.
Way less than half. Yeah, about 10% of what it actually costs. And so there's a lot of savings there, and you also got to think like you're not paying taxes on it when you buy the item.
Right.
And so there's like so many benefits around this. So
Yep.
self-shopping is another.
And you
pro.
can even do that even if you don't resell. I mean, just going and looking at garage sales or thrift stores, you can always find a deal. It'll save you money, and I know everyone's looking for ways to help. But
I had an agent that would go garage selling, and he found a hamster cage out for like super cheap, and he's like, "Well, I guess I need to go get a hamster."
Uh-oh.
So it can be a negative and add an
and
extra
there are
expense.
puppies sometimes too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. You
puppies.
just really know what not,
Yeah.
especially if you go to like a flea market, you're almost bound to find puppies. So, but yeah, that basically covers the pros and cons.
We're so close together in here.
The pros and cons of reselling so far overall.
5 months.
What would you say? Good.
I say I like it. I'm glad that we're doing it. He's way less stressed. I'm dealing with the clutter, and in the future, hopefully that problem will be gone, and then I'll love it. But right now,
What are
I
you
tolerate
thinking?
it. Not in the near future. I said in the future.
Okay.
So.
Long
Yeah.
future.
Way down the way.
Yeah, so I think overall it's good. I think
Yeah.
it brings a lot of possibilities to our future as far as what that looks
I mean,
like.
just like editing videos and stuff. That's something I can teach the kids how to do. Like there's all kinds of aspects that you can
Positive
do with
is you don't have to edit this video.
I know. I'm so excited about that. I just hit done. It's up there.
So other than that, we will have another What Sold video coming up. We
Yep.
still have the footage for the second.
It will get posted sometime.
Sometime it will get posted. So stay tuned for that. If you're watching this is Tuesday night at the end of August.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night we have a Whatnot show that we will be running.
Hopefully the hurricane doesn't take out our
on
power.
vinyl records. So I've already listed, we have 35 vinyl records that will be sold. A lot of classic rock, a little bit of pop, a little bit of hip hop. So come and join us.
Whatnot, and the store is Retro Renewed.
So awesome.
What time? 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock
9
tomorrow
Eastern.
night. Yep. Wednesday night, August 30th. Just making sure I got the right dates.
Okay.
All the days
I
blur.
don't think it's the 30th.
Yes, it is.
Are there 31 days in August?
Yes, there is.
There you go.
Every time.
Learn something new.
31
I'm just kidding.
days. Well, awesome, everybody. I appreciate you all stopping in and
Yep.
watching with us. What was the pro and con that you particularly liked?
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll get them in there.
Yeah, need to do something. But I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thanks for
and
watching.
Take care.
Oh, that's the comment box. Let me see. Nope, I don't think you did that right. That's the.
All right.
Hold on.
Give
Let me
us
do
your
it.
eggs.
Let me do it. Bye.